Welcome to Spelling Bee Ninja, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of philosophy and unravel age-old questions that have shaped human thought. Today, we explore the mind-body problem, a central question in understanding how our thoughts, emotions, and consciousness connect with our physical existence. So, if you're curious about what it means to be human, join us on this enlightening journey and don't forget to subscribe for more thought-provoking discussions. Let's start with the mind-body problem. This philosophical inquiry centers around the relationship between the mind, which encompasses consciousness, thoughts, and feelings, and the body, particularly the physical brain and nervous system. It's a fundamental question: how do our mental states relate to our physical states? This inquiry isn't just a modern concern. It's one of the oldest philosophical dilemmas, discussed by thinkers like Plato and Aristotle. But it was René Descartes in the 17th century who famously articulated the problem, framing it in a way that has influenced thought for centuries. You see, the challenge arises because our mental states feel so different from our physical ones. For instance, while we can map the brain's activity and understand its physical processes, our thoughts and consciousness seem ethereal, they lack mass and don't occupy a physical space. Therefore, how can these two seemingly incompatible realms interact? This question leads us to explore the intricacies of dualism and materialism in philosophy. Descartes proposed a theory known as substance dualism, arguing that the mind and body consist of two fundamentally different substances. The mind, according to Descartes, is a non-physical thinking substance, referred to as residential cogitans, while the body is a physical, extended substance, or residential extensa. A fascinating aspect of his theory is how Descartes believed these two substances interacted, with his emphasis on the pineal gland. He thought it was the central point of interaction between mind and body, perhaps because it was the only unpaired structure in the brain. However, this notion has faced substantial criticism, primarily due to what is known as the interaction problem. This raises an important question: if the mind is non-physical, how can it influence the physical body? Conversely, how do physical processes in our brains result in mental changes? This challenge was famously brought to Descartes' attention by Princess Elizabeth of Bohemia during their correspondence. She questioned the possibility of a non-physical soul causing a physical body to move. Unfortunately, Descartes struggled to provide a satisfying answer. His ideas ultimately sparked a debate that continues in philosophical circles today. Addressing these challenges, some philosophers turn toward materialism, a perspective that proposes only physical matter exists. Materialism posits that mental states can be reduced to physical states in the brain. This perspective aligns well with a scientific understanding of the world as being fundamentally physical. However, within materialism, several sub-theories exist. One of them is identity theory, championed by philosophers like U.T. Place and J.J.C. Smart in the 1950s. This view posits that what we perceive as mental states, like the feeling of pain, is actually identical to specific brain states, specifically the firing of certain neurons. Though appealing, identity theory encounters its own set of issues, particularly with the concept of multiple realizability, where different physical states in differing systems might correspond to the same mental state. For example, while pain might be experienced in humans as a particular neural firing, an octopus could experience pain through entirely different neurological processes. This begs the question: if mental states are strictly physical, how can we account for such variances? Shifting gears, let's explore functionalism. This theory defines mental states not by their physical substrates but by their functions, meaning the roles they play in our processes and interactions. Think of it this way: just as software can function on different hardware, mental states can manifest in various physical systems. Developed by philosophers like Hilary Putnam and Jerry Fodor in the late 20th century, functionalism opens the door to understanding artificial intelligence. However, like its predecessors, functionalism isn't without its critics. It struggles to explain the subjective quality of experiences, what it feels like to be conscious. Then we have epiphenomenalism, a more controversial stance suggesting that mental states are mere byproducts of physical processes, without any influence on those processes. Imagine consciousness as a shadow, always present but incapable of causing any changes in the physical realm. This perspective addresses the interaction problem by asserting that while physical events can produce mental states, those states don't impact the physical world. Critics argue this view contradicts our lived experiences because we often feel we are making conscious choices. If mental states can influence actions, then how do we reconcile that with our everyday decision making? Finally, we touch upon behaviorism, another critical theory in the philosophy of mind that posits mental states are reducible to observable behaviors. Influenced by psychologists like B.F. Skinner, behaviorism suggests that psychology should focus on observable behavior rather than unobservable internal thoughts. According to this viewpoint, pain isn't a private mental feeling but rather a set of observable actions like crying or withdrawing from something painful. However, this approach has faced significant pushback, as it tends to overlook the rich inner tapestry of human experience that includes our feelings and thoughts. The mind-body problem remains more than just a philosophical puzzle. Its implications are vast, influencing fields such as medicine, psychology, and even law. The way we understand the relationship between mind and body has real-world ramifications when treating mental illness or assigning moral responsibility. Additionally, it prompts profound inquiries about free will, personal identity, and the very essence of life itself. Despite advancements in neuroscience, the central question remains unanswered: how does matter give rise to consciousness? This enduring inquiry reflects human curiosity and illuminates the complexities of understanding our nature. In today's episode, we unraveled the mind-body problem, exploring the views of significant philosophers like René Descartes and the ongoing debate between dualism and materialism. We considered various perspectives, including substance dualism, materialism, identity theory, functionalism, epiphenomenalism, and behaviorism, each offering unique insights into how our minds interact with our bodies. This philosophical exploration not only digs deep into the nature of consciousness but also provides practical implications for how we understand mental health and personal responsibility. Thank you for joining this enlightening discussion on the mind-body problem. We hope you found it as thought-provoking as we did. Don't forget to subscribe to Spelling Bee Ninja and dive deeper into more fascinating topics in philosophy and beyond. Until next time, reflect on how your own thoughts and consciousness relate to your actions and experiences in the world.